So Fugitive are Liverpool based. A little live bird told me that you have family connection with Liverpool. Is that why you've agreed to work with Fugitive? I'm interested to hear how the collaboration with the band came about.
Well, no, the strange thing is, my mum and dad lived in Liverpool for a few years during the war. My dad was sent to Liverpool to actually work on munitions. Yeah, so I mean, I've had a lot of friends from Liverpool on and off. And when going back to the 60s and the 70s, I worked with quite a few of the Liverpool bands, like on the Mersey scene, Searchers, the Undertakers, the Merseys, bands like the Mersey Beats, and those kind of bands. We were on tour, and yeah, so we got to know a few of them. The Undertakers were my friends, actually.
That that's the Undertakers is the band I was mentioning when we spoke before, Russ, about I used to work in Dale Street in Liverpool in a
Yeah,
company selling office furniture, and their bass player, or at least one of their bass players, Bill Good, was a colleague in there. So I'd known of the Undertakers. It was
yeah.
in
But
we were
well,
talking.
yeah, I'm trying to remember what Jackie Lomax played. I think Jackie was a bass player. Jackie Lomax was a bass player. I think he was the singer. Yeah, it's amazing, the sort of the spirit between musicians, as how you we all come from the same root system, don't we? The same seed, you know what I mean? It's amazing, as soon as
Well,
you start to talk.
when you phoned and phoned me to talk about possibly getting together to write some stuff together, that conversation we had must have been hour
Yeah,
hour long or so on the phone, and we just kind of
yeah,
speaking of all
yeah,
kinds of things, weren't we? And that kind of connection between musicians, even we'd never met face to face, but
yeah. No, when I first heard, in case Jason that doesn't know, when I first saw your video online. I saw your video, and that's when I got in touch with you, wasn't it? That's how it all started, basically. And
yeah.
you and I was saying it's kind of tune I could add something to, there were bits there that I think I could have added a bit to the song. Basically, that's how it all started. Fugitive, one of the best bands. I mean, they're classic rock, which I love anyway. It's one of my loves, that early classic rock thing, which is what I used to be into big time. I mean, I like all kinds of music, but they're very very good exponents of classic rock. I think very good. They're amazing. And then the rest is history.
I've had the opportunity to hear the new tracks. Raised on Rock 2.0 is a great development on the original Raised on Rock concept. The lads have told me that both of the tracks will be included on the new album, which is a great idea. Similar to some of the music you yourself released previously, Danger Zone Parts 1 and 2.
Well, I did a few of those, Jason. Actually, going back years ago, I did a few, even with Argent. I did It's Only Money Part One, Part Two, almost the same lyrics, two different tunes with this almost the same lyric, But and that, those two put together lasted about 7 minutes, I think, 7 or 8 minutes long. And it was an interesting thing to do part one and part two, and you can change the feel of the second one, make it totally different. So I think it works quite well. Actually, Kiss have done it with God Gave Rock and Roll to You as well, actually.
How did you decide on what to write about for 1 year straight? Is there a story behind that track?
Yeah. Well, when I first met Mike, he came down with Paul Ranko, the guitar player, and we went out for a curry, on the Sunday night. And it was funny, they had a couple of beers. I had a couple of glasses of wine, and it turned out to be quite funny, But he was telling me stories about his relationships, certain relationships he had in the past and stuff. And I always think it's great to write from your own history, your own experiences and things. You can put a lot of yourself into into those songs. You know, that's for me, it's best. I always tried to put a bit of myself into songs. And he was telling me about relationships. And I thought, God, so many people go through these relationships, you know, probably not as quite as not as serious as Mike's, but everybody seems to have a story, you know, relationships fall apart and stuff. But when Mike started to talk about, you know, when he was drinking and stuff like that, and I said, you know, some of these stories, you've got to put this, you know, you've got to write a song about it. Basically, that's how it started. And basically, that's how we got the idea to sort of write a song about his life, you know, about his life with women in the past.
Yeah, and the cup of tea is the new JD.
Oh yeah, I like that. I like that.
Fugitive have been very vocal about how positive an experience it is writing and recording with yourself. How was the whole experience for you working with the lads? Is there a standout moment or funny story from you? Something to embarrass the lads, maybe?
Oh, there's loads of those. I can't put those in. There's loads of those. No, you know, we just get on. The funny thing, as I was saying earlier about music, you know, you're almost like a family. And when you start, as soon as music is being played, someone picks up a guitar, plays the drums or whatever. It's very, very, you're all focused on that one thing. It's like doing a gig. I always think that when the band are on the stage and you've got an audience that are happening, you know, there's no separation between the audience and what's on the stage. And that's what makes it amazing. It's like a kind of, you know, the audience are not thinking about their problems. They're not thinking about tomorrow or yesterday. They're focused on that. And it's the same with the people on the stage. It's magic. And, you know, when bands get together, when musicians get together, it's the same thing, you know.
Mike has told us you're a very busy man, working with so many interesting people, writing and recording new music yourself, and touring with your own band. Would you like to share any news on what's next for you?
Well, I'm actually going away on my birthday, which is the 31st of October. I usually celebrate it with my family, but I've got a tour of Germany starting in Munich on the 1st of November. I'm doing Munich, Nuremberg, Bonn, Bensheim, Aschaffenburg, Augsburg. If I've forgotten any town, I apologize, but it's I think there's about 8 gigs out there, so that will be nice. I've done these towns before, and it's beautiful. It's a great crowds.
Have you got any new albums or songs on there?
Yeah, I'm actually promoting an album. I during the lockdown. I finished this album before the lockdown, as it happens. I've got another album that I wrote and recorded in the lockdown, but that's not been out. I'm still trying to sort of promote It's Good to Be Here. That's the name of the album. It's Good to Be Here. So, yeah, to that. You know, I've done quite a few gigs in England recently, you know, Wolverhampton and Hull and Scotland, one in Kinross, another one in Edinburgh. I did the Shepherd's Bush Empire. I did that with Rick Wakeman, and that was nice. So I've been doing gigs. You know, the band is sounding good, and we're you know, it's relatively new actually, this band, but it's sounding. I think it's going to be really, really good once we get into the third gig.
Yeah, I caught you in Wolverhampton, and it was really good sound and great tracks that you.
It's better than work, Jason. You know, it's better than doing a real job.
No. Well, thank you very much for taking your time out to speak to me about Fugitive. Wish you all the best for your tour and many happy returns for your birthday on the 31st of October.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah.